Thank you for joining us today for a press conference with NDP Leader Jagmeet Singh, the MP for Hamilton Centre, Matthew Green, and the NDP candidate for Toronto-Danforth, Clare Hacksel. We'll take questions at the end, beginning with questions on site. Merci d'être ici avec nous pour une conférence de presse avec le chef du NPD, Jagmeet Singh, le député de Hamilton Centre, Matthew Green, et la candidate NPD pour Toronto-Danforth, Clare Hacksel. On va prendre des questions à la fin, so I will turn it over to you, Claire.
Great, thank you so much, and welcome to Toronto-Danforth. I just wanted to start today by acknowledging the land that we are gathered on. This is the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Toronto is also home to many Indigenous, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. And because we're here talking about healthcare, I did want to acknowledge Anishinaabe Health, which is an extraordinary healthcare, Indigenous-led healthcare organization here in Toronto. I am so excited to be here. I am a healthcare worker. And as we were talking about earlier with some of our seniors, we know that the key to folks living in good health is preventative health. And for many, many decades, unfortunately, our healthcare system has ended at our mouth. And we know that that's a problem, particularly for seniors and for young people. We know that when folks can't access dental care, that leads to cancers, it leads to heart issues, gut issues. We know that for children going to school who can't concentrate because they are in pain, or for seniors who can't eat because of their advanced gingivitis, that having to pay for your health care, your dental care out of pocket is a problem, and it's a problem that needs to change and is changing because of the hard work of the NDP. So, without going on too much more, I would like to introduce my good friend and a fighter for healthcare and a fighter for dental care, leader of Canada's NDP, Jagmeet Singh.
Thanks so much, Claire. Awesome. Do a little shuffle here. Thanks so much, Claire. Really excited to be here in Toronto-Danforth. Really excited that Claire is our candidate, and to have my good friend Matthew Green with me as well from Hamilton. I feel a lot of support to talk about something that Claire touched on, which is really important. We know in our country that there are millions of Canadians that do not go to the dentist because it's too expensive. 1/3 of Canadians do not have dental care coverage. And there's a lot of people that, given how expensive things are, have to make sacrifices. They want to put food on the table, they want to keep a roof over their head, and because of that, they have to cut back on other things. And one of the things that gets cut back on is going to the dentist. And as a result, people are living with pain. People are worried about the cost if they do have to go. And when you put it off, it only gets worse. So we have been fighting to make sure people get coverage. And while out-of-touch liberals and cut-and-gut conservatives don't want to deliver help to people, we have forced this government to take action. And one of the programs that we're really proud of, we started off with kids under 12. And we forced that program through, and what it has meant for hundreds and thousands of kids, it's been life-changing. And I want to just talk about Brianna, a mom I met in Alberta who has 5 kids. And each of her 5 kids could not go to the dentist. It's too expensive. She had to cut back. She told me it's all she can do to just keep food on the table and a roof over their head, that things have had to been cut back. And as a result, she had to cut back on going to the dentist. And right now, I can still imagine, I can still picture the smiles on her children's faces when I met them, and was after they first were able to see the dentist for the first time in their lives. And as a mom, I could see that Brianna had guilt that she wasn't able to afford to go. That guilt was off of her shoulders. She was able to get each of her 5 kids into the dentist, and their lives changed as a result. They were happier, healthier. They could focus more, like Claire was mentioning. Some of her kids were dealing with pain that they didn't realize could be addressed if they went to the dentist, and they were able to treat that. It's life-changing for Brianna and her family, and it's going to be life-changing for so many Canadians. We spoke with 2 seniors, James and Kathy, and they shared what it's like for them right now. They're worried. When they think about the cost of going to the dentist, they think that it's just something they can't afford. Kathy talks about having to save up on a fixed income, trying to put aside a little bit of money and put off going until the last moment, and then trying to scrounge up money to go. And James said he just can't go. There's no way that he would be able to afford to go. without having any benefits, without having the income that's necessary to go to a dentist. He just couldn't afford to go. And when I told him that we're rolling out this program, we forced this government to deliver, he said it's a relief. It gives him peace of mind. It makes him know that he doesn't have to worry. That's one thing that's off the table he doesn't have to worry about. Kathy said it's just fantastic to know that she can go. And I don't think I'm doing justice to the joy that Kathy expressed when she said this is fantastic. And we're proud of that. We know that this is going to help out a lot of people. I do want to point out, though, that Pierre Poilievre, despite having taxpayer-funded dental care for most of his adult life, voted against kids getting dental care. He is opposed to seniors like Kathy and James getting dental care, even though he's had it taxpayer funded for most of his entire adult life. We are sending a clear message that we believe people need that support. We've used our power while in this minority government to give people help, while Pierre Poilievre has used his power to make it clear his intentions to cut the programs that people need. He spent the past nearly 48 hours of voting against the things that people need, cutting healthcare, cutting the supports that seniors need, cutting the help that families need, because that's what conservatives believe in, cutting and gutting. New Democrats have been using our power to give people relief, forcing this government to deliver for Canadians, making Parliament work for people. While the Conservatives continue to make it clear what their priorities are, cutting and gutting services that people need, we've made it clear our priorities are to give people that extra break, to give people the support that they need. And that's what we deliver today with this historic expansion of our healthcare system. I'll do that again in French, and then I'm open to any questions you might have. Donc, aujourd'hui, on est tellement fiers qu'on a forcé le gouvernement de livrer un programme de soins dentaires. On sait qu'il y a des millions de Canadiens qui ne peuvent pas se permettre de payer les factures pour les soins dentaires. Donc, on est fiers qu'on a forcé le gouvernement de livrer ce programme. Ça va aider des millions de familles. Je veux aussi noter que le Parti conservateur et le chef du Parti conservateur ont voté contre les soins dentaires pour les enfants, pour les aînés. Ils sont contre un programme comme ça, malgré le fait que M. Poilievre a eu un programme de soins dentaires payé par les contribuables pour des décennies. Mais il est contre l'idée que les familles reçoivent un même programme. Donc, c'est quelque chose que je ne peux pas comprendre pourquoi il est contre ça. Mais je pense que c'est le but des conservateurs de couper les programmes pour les familles. Donc, on va continuer de forcer ce gouvernement de livrer l'aide aux gens. On est fiers qu'on ait forcé ce gouvernement de livrer ce programme de soins dentaires. On va continuer de forcer ce gouvernement de donner un coup de main aux familles. With that, I'm ready for any questions you might have. Merci.
Okay, we're going to do questions on site first. We'll do one question, one follow-up, starting with Grace from Omni TV.
Yeah.
Can you be careful about leaning in?
Just
your
back
jacket
off
rubs
the
up
microphone.
against
Oh, gotcha. Thanks. I got too excited.
That's good. No, yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm Grace from Omni TV. I have two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, how do you plan to monitor the government's actions to ensure efficient access for those in need of this program?
Great question. We are going to be paying close attention to the rollout. The rollout, like I said, it's announced today, but we're going to be paying very close attention to make sure it gets out to the people who need it, that it's done in the right way. So we've been paying close attention, and we'll continue to pay really close attention to make sure that this works. We know that the Liberals have been really out of touch for a long time, not really connecting to what people are going through. So we're going to make sure we're there to be your voice, to hold them accountable, to make sure this program works.
And I have a second
Quick
question.
follow-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you share strategies for encouraging more dentist clinics to enroll in the program and actively provide service?
Yeah, so this program, one of the things that we worked really hard to make sure is that it's something that all dentists and hygienists will support. To achieve that, we've made sure this program is going to cover the cost or the fee that's assigned to each service. It's a very strong program. It's not for specific dentists. It's for any dentist, any hygienist. So people should be able to use this to go to their local dentist, the one they've been going to before. For those that qualify, it would mean that your bill will now be paid for by the federal government, and your costs will be free. So please make sure you access the program. The enrollment is very simple. You'll receive notification. You've got to phone in to get enrolled. And I want to make sure that everyone that qualifies does enroll so they can get access to this free dental care.
We're going to go to CP24 next.
Thanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Jagmeet's Tom from CP24.
Hey
Do you
there.
have any input or comments on the current strike in Quebec and the fact that 80,000 healthcare workers, predominantly nurses, have now joined forces with the other union groups?
Yeah, I was actually able to attend one of the actions in Gatineau with the healthcare workers, and actually it's a number of public sector workers that are all come together for the Front Commun, the Common Front, and they've come together in a really powerful way. We're in full solidarity with workers. I can tell you that Matthew and I and Claire, we've been on picket lines to support workers. I can't say the same for Conservatives. I don't think Pierre Poilievre has ever been on a picket line, but you can count on us to always be there to support workers. What they're asking for is dignity and fairness and wages that keep up with inflation. That's exactly what all workers deserve. So it's powerful to see such a strong showing of solidarity, to see so many workers coming out together. It's encouraging. We've seen similarly at the national level, we saw public service workers come together and demand better wages, and we're able to win that fight. We support workers anytime they demand fair wages. And so this is an encouraging thing to see so many workers to come together. We want to see them now win that fight and get fair wages.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, a follow-up question to that would be, do we see a broader problem throughout the country with various provinces and their healthcare systems? We see funding issues in Alberta. We know that there's tension and funding issues in Ontario. Ultimately, what's happening and what's the solution? How can the federal government play a part in helping the provinces?
Well, we've seen there's a couple of things going on. One, we're seeing that for Conservative premiers, they're cutting healthcare investment, and it's directly hurting families. It's hurting healthcare outcomes. So those cuts have to be reversed, and there's a lot of great work being done at the provincial level by New Democrats fighting back in Ontario and in other provinces now in Manitoba, which suffered under those cuts for a long time. There's a New Democratic government that's going to reverse those trends. So that's one thing, we're seeing cuts being brought in by Conservative premiers that we have to fight against. And it brings me to my second point, that the federal government can play a much stronger role in ensuring that any federal money that goes to provinces has to come with clear strings attached, that money is used for public universal health care. Not a cent of public money should go towards for-profit private clinics, because we know that they cost a lot more. They end up charging fees, so people have to spend out of pocket, and it's far more costly than having the public program. We know in BC, the BC NDP government's going the other direction. They've actually brought private clinics back into the public fold because they found it's much more cost effective. They can deliver better care, more care when it's public as opposed to for profit. So that's what we need to see more of. And the Liberals have been looking at for-profit care and privatization and been calling it innovative. The Prime Minister called it innovation when Doug Ford was privatizing, bringing in more for-profit care. We know that it is not innovative. It is bad for families. It sets up a two-tier healthcare system. It means those who have money can get it, and those that don't get the care they need. So we need the federal government to step up and properly fund healthcare, because for decades that funding has been going down. Properly fund it and ensure that every cent we spend goes towards care, not towards the profits of large corporations or for-profit entities.
I'm going to go to questions on Zoom next.
Sure. Over to you, Alana.
Okay, folks, we're having a couple of audio issues on the Zoom, but if you do have a question, I would ask that you please use the raise hand function, and we can try and address the question. Our first question that I'm seeing comes from Stuart Benson with the Hill Times. Go ahead, please, Stuart.
Hi, sorry about this. I'm one of the people having the audio questions, so if I'm asking something that's already been covered, apologies. But I just wanted to get your thoughts. We've gotten the dental care now, but it also looks like you may not have pharmacare under the Christmas tree. So I'm just wondering, what is in your mind the state of the agreement between your party and the Liberals, and are the Liberals doing enough to hold up their end of the bargain in your mind?
So on pharmacare, we're still in negotiations. We're having good conversations. So I'd say stay tuned. And in terms of what we've been doing, it's really a question of how we're using our power. We've been using our power in this minority government to give people help, to make this parliament work for people. That's been our goal. Let's use our power to force Ottawa to deliver for Canadians, to make it work for Canadians. And I want to contrast that with the way Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre have been using their power. They also have power in this minority government. What have they been doing with their power? Well, they're making it clear with their power, they voted in a marathon series of votes to cut and gut every program that Canadians depend on, whether it's our health care, whether it's our border security, whether it's ensuring that people have the resources they need in this difficult time. They've made it clear that they want to cut and gut those programs. Pensions, health care, employment insurance. They want to cut and gut everything that Canadians depend on. That's how they've been using their power. And we've been using our power to force this government to deliver for Canadians. They voted against dental care. They were opposed to it, and we forced them to deliver. We've been using our power to make people's lives better, and we're going to continue to do that.
Did you have a follow-up, Stuart?
No, but just sort of a quick side question on the speaker committee that's going, the committee examining the speaker's role today. Do you believe that Speaker Fergus still has the ability to stay on as speaker, regardless of how the committee decides?
My position remains that the committee is going to do its work, and we'll wait and see what the committee comes up with in terms of their findings. So that work is ongoing, and we'll wait to see what they come up with. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, I think that's all. We're just going to go back to Omni for some questions, I think, in Punjabi.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, sorry, we have one more English back on the Zoom.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry, with Omni. Go ahead.
Would you please reply the same question in Punjabi?
Sure.
Yeah, the first one is like, how do you plan to monitor the government's action to
Oh,
ensure
yes.
efficient to access the
Okay. ਸੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਤਾਕਤ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਘੱਟਗਿਣਤੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਸ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਰਤਿਆ ਇਸ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਡਿਲੀਵਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਸੋ ਇਸੇ ਰੂਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਵਰਤ ਕੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੰਦ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਦਵਾਈਆਂ ਉਹ ਦੰਦ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਹੋਣ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਲਈ ਤੇ ਗਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੱਚੇ ਜੋ 18 ਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟ ਤੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਡਿਸੇਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਹ ਦੰਦ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਮੁਫਤ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਧਿਆਨ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਲੀਵਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਵਧੀਆ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੱਲਦਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਦਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜੋ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਆ ਸੁਣਾਂਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਬਣਾਵਾਂ Yeah.
Would you share some strategies for encouraging more dentist clinics to enroll in the program and actively provide services?
ਜੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੰਦ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਰਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਦਵਾਇਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਡੈਂਟਿਸਟ ਕੋਲ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੈਸਿਫਿਕ ਡੈਂਟਿਸਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਕੋਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਜੋ ਨਾਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਤੋਂ ਬਣਵਾਇਆ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਵਾਇਆ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਫੇਰ ਵੀ ਜਾਓ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਖਰਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰੂਗਾ ਕਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦੰਦ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਮੁਫਤ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਕਰੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਨੇਹਾ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਨਰੋਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਓਗੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਜਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਡੈਂਟਿਸਟ ਜਾਂ ਹਾਈਜੈਨਿਸਟ ਕੋਲ ਜਾਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਨਵੇਂ ਦੰਦ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਹੱਕ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਤੇ ਇਸਤੇਮਾਲ ਕਰੋ Thanks so much.
I think if everyone's good, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. That's awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes.